folks? It's me, Mark Hanna, Hot Thunder, coming to you unscripted, uncensored, unapologetic, psychologically immune from social media control. And today we've got a Forum Follies project that I just came up with here. It's been a few weeks since I did a video. It's been summertime here, and a lot's been going on to keep up with these videos. But be that as it may, I've got one here today for you. And so what I want to do is, let me share a new photo here. So it's going to be about Forum Follies. What do you mean by Forum Follies? Well, you know that people in forums tend to act in different ways. It's one of my favorite topics to kind of look at the psychology of what's going on in these forums. And of course, when I do that, I have to look at my own psychology and be honest about that as well. It's my search for the truth here, as I like to perceive it to be. Obviously, we want to know the absolute truth of things if at all possible, but everything's usually relative in our filtered prisms of our mind. We all bias our perceptions of what's going on. But we're talking about the game War and Peace here, and War and Peace is one of my favorite games. Let's see here. How can I get this to change? There we go. Now, this is the cover shot of the 6th edition, which is really the latest one that this forum discussion is occurring in. But in reality, the most recent edition, I'll show it to you here. It's quite a massive beast, and it cost a lot of money. Okay. War and Peace 7th edition, which is really the same, more or less, as the 6th edition. This one is from Avalon Digital, who decided to reprint the game in this kind of interesting square box. It's a beautiful production here, and the 6th edition was really good too. More or less, the rules are the same. We have everything in this box that we need to play the game. This isn't an unboxing. I'm just looking for this little sheet, operational methods. I wonder if I still have it. It's something that John Gant, the designer, came up with, which is actually quite interesting. How, basically tells you how to play the game. Here it is. It's a little pamphlet that comes with the game. It's actually not part of the rules. It's right here. It's called Operational Methods, and it's basically about the battalion square. It's not even, it's only a 2-pager. Is that right? Yeah, there it opens up. Okay, and it basically just talks about, I don't think you can see that very well, but it talks about, how you move around in minimalistic stacks in a battalion square formation. Why they called it battalion square when it was actually cores in between each of them, I don't know, but it's really where you march in cores in War and Peace, and then you gather them up together at the place where you need to have a battle, and you deploy them in such a manner that you have mutually supporting corps to attack. Then there's a special rule that I think John Gant did come up with called the maneuver sur le derrière. It only has a few connotations, doesn't it? But basically, it's what Napoleon liked to do, is to cut off the supplies and communication and basically panic the armies that he was attacking, giving him a maneuver advantage. So all of that's very interesting here, but I'm coming at this from the standpoint of a customer. And a customer like me paid a lot of money for this game. In fact, I paid it twice. I bought War and Peace 6th edition. 7th edition came out with a different map. That annoyed me because I got the upgrade kit for the 7th edition, and the 7th edition didn't come with the new map, even though they decided over at Avalon Digital that they were going to change the map. And I know that, I strongly suspect that John Gant knew that was happening, because he would have known, but he, doesn't seem to claim that he's responsible for that. Fine. Okay, but the guys, amusingly, the guys over at Avalon Digital claim that they don't do anything with the rules. The rules are all on Gant and McLaughlin. So basically, any rules questions, they refer, this in the 7th edition, they refer us over to Gant and McLaughlin, which is where all of this comes into play. Why? Well, because there's some real problems with the rules for War and Peace, and these rules never got fixed. And I'm talking about not for decades. I mean, I bought this game when it first came out in the 1980s, and there's still some mistakes from the rule book from the 1980s that are still present in this. Furthermore, they never developed some amphibious assault rules for general use of attacking units that are being landed on the coast to attack a unit that's positioned on the coast. That would have been easy to come up with some rules for that, but they never did. All you hear is crickets every time you bring it up. They do not want to talk about it. All right, so that aside, in general, the game works pretty well. I've always thought it was a good game. That's why I defend the game. But I do want my money's worth, and I think these rules deserve to be fixed. So that's kind of where I got into this forum discussion. And what this is about is what I'm calling forum follies, and this is where I'm going to move this a bit. This is where the somewhat absurd nature of how forums are supposed to work is projected upon the rest of us. Now, I could show this entire forum here, but basically what happened is a guy named Ken came in and said, look, this game doesn't have support. It's not well supported. There's nobody's answering rules questions on a formalized basis. I've tried to fix the rules myself. I'm disgusted with it. I'm giving up on the game, basically throwing it in the dustbin. Okay? So I responded to Kenneth. That's not the point of this video, but I responded that some of his points were good. Some of the rules really did need some work. Now, everyone knows me who really knows me. They know that I have a sort of amused attitude about a lot of these things, and I don't take all of these forums too seriously. I don't take people's egos too seriously. I don't cater to that. I simply state my mind in a truthful and possibly somewhat sarcastic and pointed way. And I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary to be super polite in these forums. Now, here we got Dwayne. Now, I'm sure Dwayne's a nice guy, okay? Now, Dwayne added this at the end of all these exchanges, and you can go to this forum and find this. Dwayne goes and says, "Oh, thank you all for such polite, courteous, and factual response." That is, he wasn't referring to mine because he definitely singled out mine not to mention it. That's typically what guys like this do. They don't actually address the issue that they don't like. They pretend that they don't need to talk about it. They think they're being polite, they think they're being fair, but actually, I would say it's somewhat cowardly to say these two parts of this thread were polite and courteous and truthful, and the part that I wrote, which was actually really valid, is totally ignored. But that happens a lot in these forums because they just don't like the way that I present some of these things because they don't have a sense of humor. That's the way I look at it. So anyway, he complimented John Gant and Kenneth for being factual and courteous. I wish more people who had comments and criticisms would put them forward the manner which you did. And so I had to respond to this because it was absolutely ridiculous. And what I said was this. Okay. I wish more people were more concerned with speaking bluntly and honestly expressing the truth rather than being courteous, expressing half-truths, trite self-serving justifications, and people who pop into forums and make sanctimonious remarks that actually add nothing to the conversation. They're just trying to score points with the two people, in this case, that Dwayne is referring to. Now, I'm sure Dwayne will get plenty of thumbs from people who like John and who like Kenneth, and that's fine. I don't really care. I'm not there to be liked by Dwayne or John or Kenneth. I'm there to state what I think is true. Sometimes people like me for that. Sometimes they don't. And, if you're going to be like me, you can't really care what other people think, even though, of course, in a personal way, it's sometimes injurious to be treated the way that I am, but that's the price you pay. Sometimes you're not going to be liked by everybody. Even the most popular presidents only are liked by 51% of the people, and 49% of people hate their guts. So there's going to be people who hate my guts, and there's going to be people who like me, and that's just how it is. All right, so as a customer, and I just want to frame this in the customer, if you read that next paragraph about bad service, I think it has been bad service by Mr. Gant. Um, he is quite sanctimonious about being treated courteously, and if he's not treated the way he thinks he should be treated and addressed the way he thinks it should be done, that he's going to pretend that that person does not deserve an answer. Okay. Well, let me tell you something. That's a bad attitude to have, especially when you are, let's just say, in charge of customer relationships, Mr. Gant. You are the representative of this game. You are the one who designed it. You are the one who answers the questions. And we are the customers, we pay for it. And I'm constantly having to remind these designers that it's not you that is right. It is the customers that are right. And if you think, or if we think, that these rules have holes in them and gaps in them that need to be fixed, you need to address it. That's part of your job. However, what I've noticed in a pretty uniform way is that these designers don't think that they're responsible for that. And in fact, they don't think they need to answer people who they find disagreeable. But what you're doing here is missing the point. The point is we want value for our money, and we aim to get it. And that's what we want. So fix the rules, and don't make excuses that I only answer if people are polite to me, and I'm too busy to answer anyway. So even if you are polite to me, maybe, just maybe, I'll come down from my hidey-ho place that I live in and answer your question. Give me a break, okay? And give me a break that this is a polite response, Dwayne. This is not a polite response. This is saying basically, hey, I'm not really going to serve any of you. I don't care about the fact that you paid money for this game. And if you do want answers, you'll be lucky to get them. That's my summation of what I read. I don't know what you think you're reading, Drain, but this isn't, what we kind of expect as customers. Maybe you're not a customer. Maybe you don't own this game and you're just one of those guys that flit around on BGG forums, making sure that the politesse is observed. I don't know what you do, but I'm telling you right now, you don't care about customers either, okay? And you should. All right. So as I've said here, it's hard work caring about this game. It is. I've worked really hard in these forums to address some of the questions that people have had. I've made videos on how to play it. And I've done a lot more work than you have, Dwayne, or even Kenneth, as far as I'm concerned, on trying to get this game liked and well played. It's a great game. And what's quite funny is that people like Ken, well, it's not funny, but it's the people, Ken is tossing the game into the dustbin for one of the main reasons is that the rules are full of ambiguities and there's no authoritative figure who actually cares about answering the question. No authoritative source, as quoted here by Kenneth, such as the designer. These are his words, and these are accurate words. You can't get answers because of this attitude that Mr. Gant has. Okay? So, I find this a completely laughable situation that we've got somebody coming in here righteously claiming that this is how people should be behaving in a factual and courteous manner, when in fact it's not even really factual or courteous, but it is painted as such. And that's the whole point of this video, to explain my perspective as a customer of this game. These answers deserve to be made. Now, as a final refinement to this, Gant, sometimes, Gant is really unpredictable. So he just posted after I posted this, and he wrote, I'm actually concerned about some of Kenneth's remarks, and I could actually clobber and destroy him if he ever tried to play me. I know how to play this game. I wrote this pamphlet. I'm the one who knows how to play, and you guys don't know how to play this game. Now, that's the kind of response that I like. I actually gave him, whereas I only gave 2 pennies to Mr. Dwayne here, I gave Gant a full thumb for his response because I thought it was particularly good because I disagreed with Kenneth's perspective on how the combat works. Even though Kenneth's trying to claim that he's this great, you can read all this in the forum, and that he's this great player. I've played 1,000 years. You know how gamers are. I'm really good at this. Sort of like, Trump with this soccer. I know how sports is played. He sees one play in his whole life. I don't think, so, you've got these guys, and this is what happens in these forums. Everybody's an expert on something, and I'm no exception. I think I'm an expert on the things that I think I'm an expert on. Everybody's entitled to do that, and everybody's entitled to express themselves the way they want. And that's what I have to say here. That's it. So that's it for this Forum Follies episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe. Remember, stay psychologically immune from social media control. Bye.